Maryland Gymnastics has moved up the national rankings each of the last 5 weeks, now sitting at number 24 with the most crucial part of its season coming up. It's time to vault right into the gymnastics program on this edition of the Left Bench in Focus.
Welcome everybody to the Left Bench in Focus, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Jesse Schwartz.
And I'm Matthew Noose, and we're excited to be talking all things Maryland Gymnastics over the next 15 minutes, starting with the Terps' strong performance against Rutgers last weekend.
Yeah, this team just keeps improving week after week. Maryland was on the road Saturday, looking to snap a 2-match losing streak against Rutgers. It was a historic day for the Scarlet Knights, but the Terps still managed to get the win in Jersey. Rutgers was breaking all kinds of program records on Saturday, putting up its highest ever score on the floor and third highest team total in program history. But even with such an impressive run from the Scarlet Knights, the Terps were even better. Maryland started off strong with a 9.9 on the bars from Sierra Kondo, followed by an impressive performance at the vault, led by Reese McClure and Alexis Rubio, who both scored 9.825s. The tight meet came down to beam, where Maryland clinched it with an impressive 9.925 from sophomore Josephine Kogler. The Terps put up their highest score of the season, taking down Rutgers 196.875 to 196.325.
After the victory in Piscataway last weekend, the Gym Terps' conference record is back at 500 at 2-2 on the young season. Coming off a pair of wins at the West Virginia Tri-Meet to open the season, the Terps started Big Ten playoff hot with a 195.875 to 195.325 win at Nebraska. The duo of Alexis Rubio and Emma Silberman both scored a stellar 9.875 on vault, and freshman Maddie Komorowski led the way with a meet-high 9.875 on beam to secure the first conference tribe of the season. But losses to Michigan State and Ohio State followed. A 9.9 from both Sierra Kondo and Aleka Chiknias helped set a season-high team score of 49.350 on bars. But the Terps narrowly fell to the Spartans 196.950 to 196.425. And against Ohio State, more season highs were posted, yet another defeat. Silberman set her season high on bars, scoring a 9.9, and Alexa Rothenbucher scored a season high 9.875 on floor. But the Terps fell to the Buckeyes 196.475 to 197.575. But Maryland remained positive after those two meets. Here's Coach Brett Nelligan after the loss to Michigan State at home.
I thought our bar lineup was outstanding, right? I mean, I just really think, we've done pretty good bars the first 2 weeks, but this is when we put it all together, and you could see that come through in the score. I mean, it's a really talented bars group. We knew when we hit it, it would be good, and today was a great day.
Well, you just heard from Coach Nelligan, and now he's here in studio alongside Reese McClure.
Coach, Reese, thank you guys so much for being here. And Brett, we'll start with you. You've been here at the helm for as long as Maryland's been here in the Big Ten. This season, 7 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 25. How do you think the league compares this year to previous years, and how does that challenge help improve your team?
Yeah, the Big Ten is absolutely stacked this year. Like you said, 7 teams in the top 25, and I think we've been getting better and better as a league, and we had a national champion just a few years ago, but it's great for us because every weekend we get to go against the best, and we always say with the team, you don't get to beat a ranked team if you don't get to go against a ranked team. So week in and week out for us, we get to try to knock off one of the best teams in the country, and we just enjoy that. We kind of thrive off of it.
Yeah, and you guys have some veterans listed through that lineup, but you also have a couple of freshmen making an impact already. What can you tell us about those freshmen already?
Yeah, Maddie Komorowski and Taylor Reck have really stepped in and embraced their roles, and Maddie just entered her second lineup this weekend, and she just has absolute beauty on beam and her poise on floor. And then Taylor Reck brings us a lot of power on floor, and she did some vaults for us this year. So I'm really thrilled the way the freshmen have stepped up, and they've acclimated so quickly. It's really helped our success this year.
And having those freshmen start playing bigger roles on the team, what's it like kind of being a senior and helping those freshmen move along in their year this year?
The freshmen are amazing. It's nice to be able to have them look up to me and kind of guide them towards like keeping things under control when maybe we have a mess up in the lineup in front of us. So it's nice to know that they're going to get up and hit every time.
And Reese, this year you're competing on beam, floor, bars. Which event has really been the focus for you this season, and what are you hoping to accomplish by the end of the season?
Floor has definitely always been my favorite. I really enjoy my 70s routine this year. But it was nice kind of stepping out this year and getting back into the vault lineup since I was out last year.
And then, Brett, what can you say about, that 70s routine? It sounds really fun to, listen to and watch. What can you say about that?
It's a crowd favorite. I mean, Reese worked really hard on that in the choreography this summer, and she puts a lot into it, and you can kind of feel it in her performance. But, I think our fans love it. People love it online. So if you get a chance, come out this weekend. You can see it twice, and she does an incredible job with it.
Yeah, definitely. And then lastly, for both of you guys, you both are both Maryland born and bred, grew up in the state. What does it mean to, lead a program that you've grown up watching and following for your whole life?
Yeah, for me, it's just an honor to be the head coach at the University of Maryland, a state that I'm born and raised. I grew up in College Park. I live in College Park, and just to be able to come to work here every day with just phenomenal people at a world-class institution, I mean, I can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, being here is really just a dream come true for me. I never really wanted to go anywhere else during the recruiting process. So it's really just an honor to get to wear Maryland on my chest and rep the flag every weekend.
Yeah, well, that's all we've got for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Come out and support Reese and the Terps Friday night at Xfinity Center as they take on Southern Connecticut State in the Beauty and the Beast meet.
And Reese is evident of the strong senior leadership within the program this year. But let's take a look back at 2021 when two of her classmates faced year-long recoveries from injury.
Stephen Mailing had the story.
Things that happened, I just told myself I was fine, and they carried me off onto the mat, and then my trainer went up to me and was like, you're not going to compete the rest of the meet.
Silberman tore her ACL on the dismount, and at that moment, Coach Brett Nelligan knew the pain that Silberman was going through.
Just an immense sadness when you see someone get hurt. That's kind of the initial feeling.
But injury is not foreign to any sport, especially gymnastics. When talking about an uneven bars dismount, studies have shown that floor routines and uneven bars routines prove to be the most injury prone, with chance of injury from the bars standing around 28% and floor having an astounding 42% chance of injury.
I was told that when you dismount off bars, you land with the force of 4 times your body weight. So they're just so powerful and explosive that they create a lot of force, and it can be damaging to your body.
When Silberman went down, sophomore Aleka Chiknius had to step up in an event she had yet to compete in all season, the vault. She had been practicing for a situation like this all season, as injuries can occur at any given moment.
I had been training really hard in the gym this preseason, trying to get ready for that, to put that vault out there. And then whenever Emma went down, it was ready enough to compete it then.
Then, tragedy struck again. Chiknius, while running through her floor routine in practice, went down after her first pass. She didn't know it at the time, but she would soon be diagnosed with a torn Achilles.
I thought I rolled my ankle, and then when Kelly, our trainer, was asking me where it hurt, she was going on the front of my foot, and she was like, does it hurt there? Does it hurt there? And when I was actually saying no to her, once I actually said that out loud, I kind of realized because the only thing back there is your Achilles. So.
And Coach Nelligan, a father to 2 daughters, recalled the same feeling of sadness for Chiknius as he did for Silberman.
Feeling of sadness, from her, because she knows that for her the season is over.
Along with Silberman and Chiknius, McClure and Rubio round out a strong group of senior leaders on this Maryland team. All 4 gymnasts feature at some point in the Maryland lineup, and Silberman is the Terps' primary all-around gymnast. With the likes of Madeline Komorowski and Taylor Reich following in their footsteps, the freshman duo posted a score of 9.850 and 9.825 on floor in Maryland's win over Rutgers. If one thing's for sure, it's that the group of veterans have wasted no time shaping these newcomers to compete at the highest level.
It will definitely be interesting to see how the younger Terps on Nelligan's team will fill their shoes in the upcoming years.
Yeah, and getting Silberman back, you know, that all-around gymnast, it's a big spot for the Terps. It's just interesting to see how she can shape those younger Terps.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting when Silberman, right now, the only all-around gymnast, to see who really fills her shoes, either from the girls we have on the team right now or maybe some of the incoming signees.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll preview Maryland's 2 dual meets coming up this weekend.
And later, we'll take a look at Maryland's recent history at the Big 5 meet. Stay with us.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to the Left Bench in Focus, presented by Terrapin Sports Central. Jesse Schwartz here alongside Matthew Noose. And Matt, gymnastics is far from the only ranked team at Maryland right now.
That's right. It is crossover season, and just like every other Maryland team, they're either in the top 25 or on the outside looking in. Gymnastics stayed in the top 25 conversation this week after climbing to number 24 in the national poll, so the Terps will be well tested come the postseason later this spring. Maryland will compete against a plethora of nationally ranked teams as the season continues, with 6 Big Ten schools ranked in the latest top 25 poll, and then Maryland makes 7. Number 17 Minnesota is next up for the Terps in conference play. The Golden Gophers have a team-high score of 197.075 so far and have an impressive 2-1-1 start against Big Ten competition. The biggest test on the young season will be in the Big 5 meet in Nebraska later this month, where all 5 teams, including the Terps, are ranked inside the top 30. Michigan, Illinois, and Iowa are in the top 25, and Penn State checked in at number 30 in the recent poll. The Wolverines will be the highest-ranked team at the meet, coming in at number 3 in the country and possessing a season-high team score of 198.3. Stay tuned for a deeper dive into Maryland's opponents at the Big 5 meet coming up later in the show.
And this Friday night, 2 teams will take the floor simultaneously at Xfinity Center. For the 6th year in a row, Maryland Gymnastics and Maryland Wrestling will host their annual Beauty and the Beast meet. The event kicks off at 7 p.m. and tickets are $10 each. Now ranked 24, Gymnastics looks to move to 5-2 against Southern Connecticut State before they head back into Big Ten competition. As the gymnasts fly through the air, the wrestlers will try to stay above 500 in a dual match with Binghamton. And after their last Big Ten duel of the season this Sunday, the Terps will travel to Lincoln, Nebraska next weekend for the Big 5 meet.
That's when 5 of the Big Ten's best squads get together, and Maryland gets a chance to share the floor with some of the top programs in the country. Eddie Calkins joins us now in the studio to tell us how the team has fared in the meet in recent years. Eddie?
That's right, guys. This is the premier event of the gymnastics season for the Big Ten Conference, so let's dive in to see what Maryland's done over the past few years. The Big 5 meet became an annual Big Ten tradition where all 10 of the Big Ten's women's gymnastics teams met to crown a regular season champion. The top 5 teams in the standings face off against each other and vice versa for the bottom 5. The Gym Terps have had shaky success with the Big 5 meet over the past few years since they've joined the Big Ten. The highest they finished comes in at 2018. They placed 2nd out of 5th out of 5 teams in their session. That year, they scored a team score of 195.7. Second to only Illinois' score of 196.825. Last year was brutal for the Terps, however, as 4 other teams in their session were all top 20 teams. And you can guess how that went for Brett Nelligan's squad. Not great. That one took place in Toledo, Ohio, and Maryland's score was 195.725, and that was not enough to best the other 4 teams in their session: Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, and Illinois. All scored higher that day. But the Gym Terps recovered later in the season, winning in the Temple Quad and the Maryland Quad in the weeks that followed. So that's good news for them. In 2020, they also finished 5th in their session, but again played mostly ranked teams, including top 10 squad, 2 top 10 squads. Maryland only participated in 3 more meets the rest of that season due to the onset of the COVID pandemic. But they won 3 of them, ending the shortened season on a very high note. Xfinity Center has only been home to the Big 5 meet for 1 season. That one came in 2021, where the Terps placed 3rd in their session. Maryland played host to Ohio State, number 20 Nebraska, number 22 Illinois, and number 11 Minnesota on that day, getting the better of the Buckeyes and the Cornhuskers in 2021. And as we mentioned earlier, the Terps were decimated by injuries 2 years ago, but they still managed to put up a whopping 195.725 in the Big Five with those injuries. Now this year's Big Five will be hosted by the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Lincoln on February 24th. And it'll be the Terps' second trip out this season as they knocked off the Cornhuskers on the road back on January 21st. And the way they're rolling right now this season, I'd be surprised if the Terps finished in the basement of this year's meet. They just missed out on being named to the top session with the top 5 teams. That could be good news because the newly ranked Terps look to finish atop the session for the first time since joining the Big Ten Conference. Michigan, Penn State, Illinois, and Iowa will take the floor with Maryland, and you can catch that on Big Ten Plus at 8 p.m. Now, Matt, Jesse, I'm so excited. Let's see what Brett and Elegant's squad can do in the Big Five meet. I think they have a really good chance, and it'll just be a great showing for the new 24-ranked Terps.
Yeah, I think it's exciting with the Terps now being ranked in the top 25. They've been putting out good routines, scoring pretty well consistently this year. It'll definitely be a tough test, especially against number 3 Michigan, who's having quite the season, but I'm excited to see how they do against some of the top competition.
Yeah, it seems like every time they hit the floor, they score higher than the last time, so it should be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Thanks,
they've
Eddie.
been scoring 196 the past few weeks, so definitely good success for them.
And if that's any sign from previous meets, they'll do really well. Thanks for that, Eddie.
Yeah,
Yep,
sure.
thank you. And that's going to do it for this edition of The Left Bench in Focus. Kevin McNulty and Kira Bruno will be here to recap all things Maryland sports next week, and our next In Focus show will come your way on March 2nd.
As always, make sure to stay up to date with Terrapin Sports Central's coverage on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and online at terrapinsportscentral.com.
We'll see you later.